People often say that moving into a new house is like starting a fresh chapter in life. A clean slate, full of possibilities. But what if that chapter isn't yours? What if the house has its own story? One that bleeds into yours until you can't tell where it ends. And you'll begin. My name is Sarah. And this is what happened to me in the old Victorian house on Elm Street. It started innocently enough, with a mirror that seemed out of place. But by the end, that mirror showed me something I can never unsee. Something that wasn't me. And now, every time I close my eyes, I wonder if it's still watching. It was the summer of 2024 when I bought the house. I'd just gone through a bad breakup, and I needed a change. The place was a steal too. Cheap for its size, with creaky floors and high ceilings that echoed like whispers. The realtor mentioned it had been vacant for years, but I didn't care. I was ready to make it my own. The first night, I unpacked late into the evening. The master bedroom had this massive antique mirror hanging on the wall opposite the bed. It was ornate, with gilded edges that caught the light in odd ways. I remember standing in front of it, brushing my hair, and feeling a chill. The reflection looked normally tired but excited. You went to bed, the house settling around me with those typical old house grumps. I woke up around 3 a.m. thirsty. The room was dark, save for the moonlight filtering through the curtains. As I sat up, my eyes drifted to the mirror. There I was, reflected back sitting in bed, rubbing my eyes. But something felt off. I stared a little longer. The reflection blinked. When I did, yawned. When I did, normal. Right. I shook it off and got a glass of water from the kitchen. The next morning, I laughed about it. New house jitters. But that night, it happened again. I woke up suddenly, heart racing from a dream I couldn't remember. Glancing at the mirror, there I was lying in bed, eyes open, staring at the ceiling. Wait, no. I was sitting up now. The reflection should show me sitting, but it didn't. In the mirror, I was still lying down, peacefully asleep, chest rising and falling in slow breaths. I froze, blinked hard. Fruved. My Elis. The reflection finally caught up now. It showed me sitting, confused. I told myself it was a trick of the lights, or maybe I was half asleep, but deep down, I knew something was wrong. The house felt heavier that night, like the air was pressing in. Over the next few days, I threw myself into renovating, painted the walls a cheerful blue, hung new curtains, even bought a modern lamp to brighten the room. But the mirror stayed. It was bolted to the wall, and removing it seemed like too much hassle. Besides, it was beautiful in a vintage way. On the fourth night, I couldn't sleep. I tossed and turned, the bed creaking under me. Around midnight, I gave up and scrolled through my phone. Out of habit, I glanced at the mirror. There I was, phone in hand, scrolling. Normal. But then, the reflection put the phone down and closed his eyes. I hadn't. I was still holding my phone. Wide awake, panic surged through me. I dropped the phone and stared. The reflection was asleep now, breathing steadily. While I sat there, trembling, I waved my hand nothing. The mirror me remained still, lost in slumber. I got out of bed, approached the mirror, touched the glass. It was cold, unnaturally so. As my fingers pressed against it, the reflection's eyes snapped open, not slowly, like waking up abruptly, staring right at me. Ramera jumped by cart, hammering. The reflection mirrored me now standing, hand outstretched, but its eyes, they seemed different, colder. On Greer, I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I researched the house online. Turns out, it had a history. Built in 1892, owned by a family named Hargrove. The last resident, a woman named Eleanor Hargrove, had lived alone for decades. She died in that bedroom, in her sleep, at age 82. No foul play, just old age. But neighbors whispered about her being eccentric, talking to mirrors, claiming she saw another self in them. I dismissed it as superstition, but the seed of doubt was planted. Day 5 was a blur. I avoided the bedroom, worked from the living room couch, friends called, but I didn't tell them. Who would believe me? That evening, I decided to test it. I set up my phone to record the mirror all night. Propped on the dresser, I lay in bed, pretending to sleep, eyes cracked open just enough to watch. The clock ticked past 2 a.m. Nothing. Then, at 3:15, I saw it in the mirror. I sat up while I remained lying down. The reflection looked around the room, then straight at the real me. It smiled. A slow, knowing smile that sent ice through my veins. I hadn't smiled. I was terrified. The reflection got out of bed, walked to the mirror from Hitside, and pressed its hand against the glass, as if trying to reach through. I bolted upright, grabbed the phone, and ran downstairs. The recording showed everything. The reflection moving independently, smiling, reaching. I spent the rest of the night in the kitchen, lights on, researching mirrors and haunted. Folklore spoke of doppelgangers, evil twins, in reflections that steal your life. Some said antique mirrors trapped souls. Eleanor Hargrove's obituary mentioned she was obsessed with mirrors, collecting them, believing they held alternate lives. The next morning, I called a local historian. He laughed at first, then got serious. The Hargrove house. Eleanor was the last. Her sister vanished in that room in 1950. Nobody found. Eleanor always said the mirror took her. I hung up, chilled. That night, I couldn't stay away. Primera de tono. I entered the bedroom with a hammer, ready to smash the mirror. But as I raised it, the reflection didn't match. In the mirror, I was sleeping peacefully in bed while I stood with the hammer. Then the reflection woke up, looked at me through the glass and shook its head, as if warning, "May not to." I swung anyway. The glass shattered, shards flying. Pain shot through my hand as I cut myself. Terun spun. When I looked down, the bed was empty, but in the broken fragments on the floor, I saw pieces of myself sleeping, smiling, reaching out. I ran from the house that night, left everything behind. Solitasis never went back. But sometimes, in hotel mirrors or car windows, I catch a glimpse, a reflection that's not quite me, one that's always one step behind, or kid. And if you're listening to this while drifting off, remember, the next time you look in a mirror at night, make sure it's really you staring back. Because if it's not, it might be waiting for you to sleep, to switch places. Thank you for listening. If this story kept you awake or helped you drift into nightmares, subscribe for more. Good night.